first we're going to cover the viscera and abdominal cavity of the cat. So here is the various lobes of the liver. Okay. And then inside you can see the gallbladder. Okay. And here we have the body of the stomach. Now if you follow the body of the stomach, you'll reach the beginning of the small intestines. It transfers from the body of the stomach here into the beginning of the small intestines, which is the duodenum, which is going to form sort of a crescent shape. Okay. And then if you look on the inside of the duodenum, there's sort of this grayish matter. It's a little hard to make out, and that's going to be the various parts of the pancreas. Okay. And you can tell that's the pancreas because right when that duodenum ends, it transforms into the ileum, and when we look at the ileum, we just see blood vessels and clear connective tissue. There's no gray matter. And you can follow the ileum. We can see the intestinal arteries and veins. And then the ileum is going to end at the large intestines. Just hold the ileum there. It's going to end at the large intestines here. You can see the large intestines. Diameter is much larger than the small intestines. And there's this little pouch at the end of the large intestines. This is the cecum. If this was an herbivore, this would probably be a much larger portion. Just a little pouch at the end, so you know you're at the small and large. Large intestines turn into the rectum, which we can then follow all the way out if we wanted to. Okay. We also have below the body of the stomach, here's the spleen. And then we have the kidneys on either side. Kidney number 1, kidney number 2, over there. Okay. Then if we look at some of the blood vessels you need to know, okay, we have the inferior vena cava here in blue, and we can follow that all the way down the length of the cat. Then below that is the abdominal aorta in pink, and we can also follow that all the way across the whole abdominal cavity. What's important here, though, to note is that the abdominal aorta then splits into the external and internal iliacs, and so here is the left external iliac, and below it is the left internal, and then right external. Better view of that. Right external and right internal, and then if I just grab external and internal together, here you can see the external on the outside and then the internal. With the vein, the superior vena cava will also split, and it will split into the common iliac. So you have the common iliac on the left here in blue, and then there's also going to be one on the right. Now if we look at this cat is a female. Here's the bladder, okay, or the fundus of the bladder, and then we can follow it out, and you can see the urethra here, okay, the tube connecting from the bladder all the way out. But we know it's a female because it also has this structure. So we've got this bean-like shape here that is going to be the ovary, and then we can follow this tube all the way down. That's going to be the horn of the uterus, and then on the other side there's also going to be a bean-shaped structure. We can follow the horn of the uterus down, and so those two horns then meet in the middle here, which is going to be the body of the uterus. One last thing to know in the abdominal cavity is if you look at the kidneys and you look at the renal arteries and veins, is you're going to find another sort of bean-shaped structure right here, okay, and that is going to be the adrenal glands, and so it's going to sit right where these two veins break off from the superior vena cava. Okay. This cat does not have a particularly good thoracic cavity, but if we take a look here, we have the heart, okay, and at the top of the heart you can see the arch of the aorta here. We have the trachea. It's a very distinctive ribbed structure. Okay. On either side of the trachea we have the carotid arteries in pink. So here's one. And then if we look on the other side of the trachea, here's the other. And we also have next to them the internal jugulars in blue. So there's one of them in blue, and then here's the other one. Okay. And then on the outside of that we have the external jugulars. And this one's been cut a little bit, but you can follow this blue structure up. And there's some more of it. And then over here we have another one, external jugular in blue. It's been cut there, but then it continues here. You can see that part of it. And those two external jugulars will come up, and they're going to meet in the middle here with the transverse jugular, which you can see in blue. So if you follow them, external jugular is going to come up, cross over, transverse, meet back with the other external jugular, and then it's going to go back. Okay. You can also follow, here is the brachial vein in blue, and next to it, but maybe a little hard to see, is the brachial artery. And then you also have the superior vena cava, which you can see next to the heart in blue. And the brachial vein is going to come drain into that superior vena cava. And then over here, it's also been damaged, but you're going to find the brachiocephalic vein. Let's see if we can get a better view of it. Well, there's not much left to it. There's the nub of it. Okay. If we take a look at some of these muscles, here we have the external oblique, and on the inside you're going to have the internal oblique. In between those two layers there is the transverse abdominus, if you were to see in between those two layers. Okay. And then over here we have the sartorius muscle, right here, and then below it is the gracilis. If we flip it over, okay, you have the biceps femoris right here. Okay. And then if we remove some of this connective tissue, you can see some of this white fascia exposed. So the biceps femoris sits here, and then over here you have the tensor fascia lati.